Hi everyone, and welcome to And So On. My name is Lisa, and today is going to be a little life, a little knitting, a little sewing. So I'm sorry, I know the light is not ideal today, but I had to do this today or I wasn't going to be able to get it done this week. So I know that the light is not ideal. I'm a little yellow. Hopefully the colors of things will kind of true up as I bring them into focus. I'm going to have a little coffee. Okay. So I know that not all of you want to hear about knitting or sewing, one or the other. So I'm going to put a timestamp below in the description so that if you want to skip past a part, you can totally skip past a part, okay? So first, the life update and why things have been a little bit off in terms of my posting schedule lately. So we have decided to put our house on the market, and there's no drama behind it or anything like that. We just feel we've been here 11 years and we just feel like it's time for a change and a good time to sell. You know that we live in Toronto, and Toronto is a pretty vibrant real estate market. So things tend to happen pretty quickly in the city. And we're in the east end of the city down by the water, and our neighborhood is it's idyllic, and we're going to stay in our neighborhood. We're just wanting to switch up where we live. So because of that, and because it happened kind of fast, like we've been toying with the idea for a while, but all of a sudden everything just went bam, and we started going, and they're going to be staging our house. And so that means I have to pack up most of my house in like a 36-hour period, 72-hour period. So it's been going okay. It's been nice to actually kind of get rid of some stuff and kind of organize, and I'm trying to look at the positives. But the first place that had to get broken down was my sewing room. And it's so funny. I should take a picture. I don't know if I can find it in the piles, but I got big clear construction bags at the store. Like initially we got bins, and then I started filling the bins, and I'm like, babe, half these bins are just going to be my fabric, let alone everything else in our house that we own. So I got some construction plastic bags that are clear, which is great because when I'm looking for things, I don't necessarily have to root through a bunch of bins. And I put all of my fabric in there as well as a bunch of clothes. And we have a storage space. And I kind of joke that this storage space is like a condo for your stuff, because you drive all the way into the building, and then there are dollies and stuff there, and you move it, and then you go up in the elevators, and it's like a condo but with no apartments, just spaces. But it's like climate controlled and stuff, and which is good because we're going to be moving my piano, so it obviously needs to be climate controlled. Anyway, so much to do, you guys, so much to do. However, I do have a couple things to show you sewing wise first, and then I'll go for the knitting wise. So yeah, so that's the big thing that's happening, is we are putting our house on the market, and we may travel again too. We traveled last year for 7 months. We wouldn't go for that long again, but we might go away for a couple months. So putting our stuff in storage makes sense. But yeah, it's a little crazy, but I'm happy about it. And I think that it's a good decision for our family. Our girls are used to the idea now. They weren't thrilled off the top, as most kids are not thrilled about moving. But when they realized they weren't going to have to change schools or anything like that, and they could still be with their friends, they were more on board. So yeah, so fingers crossed. I should know in the next week, what's happening, and about a week and a half, I should know what's happening. In the meantime, here is a little bit of sewing that I do have to show you. So first of all, I wanted to show you my Schnittchen coat from last year, and I know that obviously you've seen it if you've been subscribed to me since the beginning, but I want to try it on for you because this is the first time that I've actually got to wear it more than just once or twice, because by the time I finished it last year, it wasn't really appropriate for the season anymore, and I didn't really get to wear it. So this is kind of nice that I get to wear it. So yeah, here's the coat, and I really do like it. I think by the time I finished it last year, it was such a drama that I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit. And I actually have a video called My First Coat, sewing my first coat, and I'll link it here if you want to see that drama. It was actually kind of funny. But I love the lining. The lining is actually from the Costume House of the National Ballet of Canada. I was gifted this fabric, and so I love the lining. I love the shape of it. And something funny happened with the lining on this side, and it doesn't stay in. But to be totally honest, I have long arms, and I don't like short sleeves at all. So I'm gonna add a cuff to these when I get my sewing room back. I'm gonna add a cuff because I do have some leftovers. And I think it would be really nice too to add a button. Like, I know it's supposed to be worn open, but I don't know. I might add a button or a hook closure or something like that. I'm not even sure what. So you might want to know what I'm wearing. This is my gallery tunic from Liesl & Co. And I made this at a shirt length. I love this top. It's quite a thin material. It's not that really thick, fleecy kind of material or flannel material. It's quite drapey and loose, and it's quite ideal for this time of year. Once it starts to get cold, I don't find I wear it so much. I need something warmer. But for this time of year that's kind of transitional and it's just a gorgeous autumn day today, this is the perfect thing to wear. I have one more thing that I made last year that I never did show you, and that is I made this really super simple wrap. And I'll get up and show you how I wear it. So this is how I wear it. And I will wear it actually over a winter coat as well to kind of provide that extra layer of warmth. But right now, it's been really great to have. The other thing I can do is I can cross it like this and then put a belt. And I've done that before as well, that I think turns out really cute. Again, I made this sort of the end of last season last year. And so I didn't really get a lot of use out of it. And the other thing too is this is a not very expensive fabric from Fabricland. I love the selvage on it, by the way. Isn't that nice? The red. So I could just keep that selvage. And it's a wool poly blend, and it would make me sneeze. There's something about it that would make me sneeze. Anyway, finally I got so frustrated. I was like, either just throw it in the wash or you're gonna stop wearing it because there's just no point. So I threw it in the wash and the dryer, and it's totally fine, and it doesn't make me sneeze anymore, and it's a little softer, of course. So all this is a length of fabric that you cut up the middle on one side and then turn it in and sew it down. So it's super easy. I'm going to do a little tutorial on this. I know most of you guys that watch me are, intermediate plus sewers, I would guess. So this is not going to be super, a revelation to you guys, but at the same time, hi. 5-minute Christmas present. You just go, and this time of year, all of those fall fabrics are on sale. And like I said, great layering piece, even for indoors. So I picked up some fabric to make with my tutorial. Isn't this a gorgeous color? Of course, I was gonna get navy or brown, and I thought, you know what, especially since I know I'm gonna do this for a tutorial, pick a vibrant color that's gonna look beautiful on screen. And I think it's a good color for me as well. This, what do you call this, violet maybe? I don't know. If you know what it's called, let me know, but it's sort of violet color. So I am going to make, it's also from Fabricland, and I think it was $8 a meter on sale, which is great. More wool in this one than in the other one. Doesn't make me sneeze. And I think I got 1.5 meters or 2 meters. I'll have to measure it out, but I'm gonna do a tutorial on this one, and I'm also going to use it for a challenge. So you'll see that coming up as well. So I'm going to be using that wrap for the Stitched with a Twist challenge, and I'll put in the logo here. This has been spearheaded by Oh Liverpool Lou and a friend, I Seem So Happy. They're sewing wives. I Seem So Happy and Oh Liverpool Lou have started this Stitched with a Twist challenge, and all you have to do is pick anything that you want to make and just personalize it and make it your own. Maybe do a little hack, maybe do a little embellishment. You'll see, I think I'm going to do some hand embroidery on this, just something a little bit modern, but colorful to add to my wrap for Stitched with a Twist. So it does not have to be anything, super, dramatic to make a change, but just something to make it yours, something to really personalize it and say, I made this and I just gave it a little twist. The other thing you could do is you could, what I was going to do was the Anderson blouse that I told you guys about in my my plans video before I was selling my house and had to pack up my entire sewing room, which kind of blew that out of the water. But I was gonna add bishop sleeves to my Anderson blouse, right? Adding a little drama, a little twist. So all you have to do is that, and you just need to do it by November 24th. And then I believe that you just use that hashtag and tag at I Seem So Happy and at Liverpool Lou. So I'm going to put that all below, and there are lots of prizes. There's a 50-pound hamper, fabric hamper from Minerva Crafts, 20-pound voucher for Lamazi Fabrics, 20 pounds from Pink Coat Club, 25 pounds from So Me Sunshine, 20 pounds from Roodles Are Unique. Don't know that one. And 20 pounds from Material Girl Laura. So there's lots and lots of prizes. So get on Instagram and tag, or if you aren't on Instagram, go over to Lou's channel and maybe ask her how you could also enter. So that is all the sewing, and I'm on to the knitting. And so I have had a fair amount of time to knit, or it's been easier to knit right now than to sew, because obviously it's smaller, it's portable. I can just do it on the couch when I'm exhausted from packing. And I've got my basket here. This is actually my mom's basket. She used to keep her linen napkins in here, and I have all of her linen napkins, but I just love the idea of taking this basket. My mom loved everything kind of country. She loved country stuff, and yeah, so this was one of her baskets. She at one point, my dad put a moratorium. No, don't bring any more baskets into this house, because she has so many baskets. So this really reminds me of my mama, and I love using it as my sewing basket, or my knitting basket, pardon me, and I think she would love that too. So you guys will remember this hat that I finished, and I'm gonna hold on to it because it really is very cozy, even though it's a little bit big. I really do love it. I did make a second one, like I said I would, but I don't have it on me because my child has absconded with it. So it actually was too small. I didn't make it deep enough, and yeah, it fits Audrey a lot better. I still need to learn a little more about how to make the ribbing tight enough so that it really kind of hugs your head. I find it a little bit loose. I do know about going down a needle size, and I did that, but maybe for me, because I'm such a loose knitter, maybe I need to go down 2. I also made a bunch of these project bags that I showed you guys last time. So if you missed the video, I did do a video on it, which I think turned out great, and it's super quick. And people have already come up with lots of hacks for it, which I love. And I'll link that above as well. I think that turned out really, really well. So in this one, I'm actually also using this as the gift bag for the contents, and it's one of my finished items. It is the baby sweater that I did. Actually, to be totally honest, it's not 100% finished. I still have to add the buttons. But the baby is here. As a matter of fact, she arrived, I think, the day that I made my last video. Her name is Sophia, and I'm looking forward to giving this to her. So first of all, I'll show it to you, and then I'll show you the little buttons. So here is the sweater. Isn't it cute? So the nice thing about it is it opens all the way up. So you can just like lie the baby on top and fold it over them. So you're not kind of, trying to move them around when they're brand new. So I used the 2 colors of baby cashmerino. I used the version of the pattern where you do the decreases to make the sleeve a little bit more fitted. And then I added some ribbing at the end because I just like the way that looks. The buttons that I chose from my stash are these teeny little flowers. Aren't they sweet for a baby girl? So I have 4 of those to put on there. And then I also have to make a little matching hat. So here is the little hat that I made. It was a free pattern. And this pattern on here is called the Bird's Eye pattern. And this took no time at all. So it's just a teeny tiny, and she's brand new. She's not even 2 weeks old. So this should work out well for her. I finished, or almost finished, the one sock that I'm using as a guide for my knitting group. And you can see how nicely this patterning turned out. It's pretty cool. This is sport weight, and I have this here for my afterthought heel. So I haven't finished this up only because if I do, I want to be able to show my knitting ladies how I do this. So I'm waiting to do it in person. But this ribbing turned out great. And I think, it's really going to hug nicely. So I'm going to figure out a way to translate that to my hats. So I just tore my house apart looking for my socks that I finished, and in all the ruckus, I don't even know where they are. So I'm going to put in a couple of pictures. I finished my Sweet Georgia yarn socks, and you might remember that I was doing the Taffy Toes pattern, which is the free pattern, and I was just doing their knit along. I got to the bottom. I actually got through and did the heel turn on one side, and I think I even showed you that in the last one, and I did the other one, and then it was like late, and I was like, I do not want to continue with this stitch pattern. It's driving me a little bit insane, and some of my numbers were off and whatever, and I was like, you know what? Nope. And I ripped it back. Oh, I ripped it back, both of them. And I just continued them as an afterthought heel. I just went all the way down. And then I decided to do the heel in this cute self-striping that I don't even know where I got it. Like, it's been years. It might have been from my grandmother. It might have been from the Goodwill. I don't even know. But I thought, oh, that'd be kind of nice to do a contrast. So I did a contrast heel. So for these socks, I used a US size 1 needle. So I went down to a 2.0 millimeter, and I used a very long, I think it was 100 centimeter cord. I really like the long cord. I did just go buy a shorter one yesterday, only because when I only do one sock, it's a little bit much. But when I'm doing the two, I really like that. And I also did cast on 56 stitches, or actually what I did was when I got to the foot, I reduced down to 56 stitches because obviously I'd already started the socks. But I'd seen on the Knitting Expat blog when I looked at her toe-up socks. Were they toe-up? I don't remember. But when I was looking at her 2 at a time socks, I saw that she said that she does 56 stitches. And she's like, I know that's unusual, but it works for me. And I was like, oh, maybe I could go down to 56 stitches. So far, they're the best fitting socks I've made. They're still even a little bit big. I have really narrow feet, I guess. Big feet. My feet are size 9, but they're really narrow. So I think I'll do 56 again. And I actually immediately threw them in the washer dryer. But they're very soft. I have to say, using this sock yarn, this is some of what I have left over. I divided into 2, so I actually have more left. But this Tough Love sock yarn, I do notice the difference. I've only ever made socks from just like big brands, like not, what do you call it? Not hand-dyed. And I have to say, I have noticed a difference. I don't know if it's the hand-dyed or if it's just the composition of the yarn, but I did really, really like the feel of them. And they're the first socks that I've made. This is probably my 4th or 5th pair of socks where I actually feel like I could wear them in my shoes without something else underneath them. Do you know what I mean? They feel like good against my feet. And now I'm left with just one real work in progress, which is kind of great to only have one. Now I have to say, I know I showed you guys 2 single socks for Lily. I haven't started the second socks of that. So I guess you can count those works in progress too. See, that second sock syndrome, I'm telling you, that's why I'm going to do all my socks 2 at a time because I just lose steam. But you'll remember I was doing a cardigan for Lily and I posted a picture of that. Now I think this one is a drops, and someone mentioned to me that drops has some controversy about it, which I really appreciate the mentioning, and I'll know that in the future. But at the moment, you know, I'd already started the cardigan. So I finished the back, which is quite a big piece of knitting for me. I've never actually made an adult garment, so I've made lots of like smaller things. So this is the back, and it's sport weight yarn, and yes, it's self-striping, and yes, the stripes are a little off. But honestly, unless you're a knitter, I don't think you really notice that. It just looks like the pattern, and I just think it's really soft and lovely, and Lily's really happy, so I don't really care about the stripes. Now I'm working on the front panel on the left side, so this is where the buttons will be. And I'm now at the point where I can reduce and do the shoulder curve. So I guess that would make me not quite 50% the way through, because also I have 2 sleeves to do. But I did grab one more ball of this yarn. I had 300 grams, and I feel like maybe it's going to take me just a little bit more than that. Again, because I'm a loose knitter, I don't know if that makes a difference, but I was nervous, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pick up one more ball. It's really nice if I make another baby sweater out of it or whatever. It's 10 bucks. So yeah, so I got one of those. So one of my favorite knitting podcasts is called Knitting Vicariously by Dunder Knit, and she's Caroline, and she's Caroline? I think it's Caroline. Anyway, lovely, lovely, and so much fun to listen to and to watch. And so I'm going to link Caroline below. And her podcast is called Knitting Vicariously. And she's just announced a CAL that's basically enabling people to knit whatever they want. Just, you know, drop everything, and Dunder Knit Along is the name of the hashtag, which I thought was very clever. So I'm now going to be thinking and deciding what I want to make, which is what Knitting Vicariously is. So one of the things that I'm using for that is the Making Things app. And if you guys guys haven't heard of that, it's kind of like the Netflix for patterns. It's like another pattern resource alongside Ravelry. And I thought it was a great idea and I'm really enjoying it. So I will put the link below where I went through. It's linked to someone named Soprano Knit. And I love, because she's an opera singer and I'm in the business, so I kind of feel a kinship there. So I'm going to put her link below so you can, I'll put the link to where she talks about it, and then I'll also put the link if you want to go check out the app. But what the nice thing about it is that you can knit any of the patterns. So they're all included. It's $11.99 US a month. And I'm just excited to try a bunch of patterns. And I mean, I have bought patterns, don't get me wrong. I do pay for patterns, but if I don't have to pay for every single one, I can kind of try some things out that I might not normally have done because I'm worried about, you know, adding to the cost. So to that end, I'll show you a few things that I'm inspired by, and then probably next time I'll talk about actual patterns that I'm looking at, but I'm really, really happy to have some input. So I have, you'll remember this fiber Leah that I had, and this is a sock yarn, but I have some of my wonderful Shibui Silk Cloud that makes me so happy. And I think together those would be really pretty. There's a lot of gray in this. I don't know if that's coming out, but the base for it is definitely gray. And I think I want to do a very simple shawl scarf to go with this, like a triangle scarf. And a one skein triangle scarf. So I'm not a huge garter fan, so I don't know that I want it to be just a plain garter scarf. I'd like it to have some stockinette and a little bit of lace incorporated. So if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. And then yesterday I bought that extra ball of yarn for Lily's sweater. I bought another little ball of the Shibui Silk Cloud. I'm stressed, I'm moving. No, I don't need to justify. But isn't it beautiful? So I bought this to go along with my knit crate from last month. And I'm really looking forward to this month because it's like a sparkly knit. I'll link that below as well. But here's, I did it without note, like I didn't bring this with me. This was the only green they had. So, but I think that'll be great. I think that'll give a really nice halo. And I have two skeins of this. So, bigger scarf? Well, okay, so here's my dilemma. Bigger scarf or, I think I said this last time, Christmas gifts. So hat, fingerless mittens, small cowl. I could probably get a couple of gifts out of this. So, I don't know. And then I'm sure all of you know Wool and Vine Yarns, the Wool and Vine podcast, and she was talking about her purchases at Rhinebeck and the events around Rhinebeck, and she mentioned Viola Yarns and then mentioned that it was dyed in Ontario, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I'm still kind of, you know, dipping toes. Oops. I'm really still dipping toes into the knitting community and learning. You know, it's sort of like when I started in sewing and there were so many pattern companies that I'd never heard of, and it's kind of fun to discover. And same with this, you know, and now I'm discovering knitting designers and dyers, and it's really great. So anyway, this is the Viola Yarns. She has a book coming out called Knits About Winter. And I just love that it was in Ontario and I wanted to support. So I went over and she had some sock minis and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get some minis. So I got 4 minis and I'm gonna show them to you here. They're lovely. They're really beautiful. One of them I've already unwound, but look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It is hard to hold up several skeins of yarn at the same time. And so these, you can see the thing on here. So these are mostly merino, superwash merino with some nylon. And they're just so pretty and they smell so good. They're so sheepy, like not overly sheepy, just perfectly sheepy. Look how pretty that is. So this color is called, Rose Gold Dust. This color is Garden Ghost. It's got a really cool, just little tinge of pink in there, which is why I thought this would be nice. This one is Muscari. And then lastly is Cosmic. So I was thinking of them in this order. And In terms of what to make, it's not a ton of yardage, obviously. That's what minis are. I'm trying to decide between doing a pair of socks and doing a set of like hand warmers. Hand warmers, because of course then you're looking at it all the time. You can kind of just like, oh, aren't they pretty? But I wonder if I'll wear socks more. So I don't know. But aren't they beautiful? Oh, maybe this order is better. What do you think? Is it better with the dark on the end or the dark in the middle? I think on the end. Anyway, they're lovely, and I really enjoyed just going over and browsing all the beauties on the Viola site. Okay, guys, that's all for me today. I have to go and rent a moving truck and bring it back here for my husband to load in like 20 minutes. So I've got to run, but all of a sudden this morning I went, if I don't do this now, it's not going to get done. And, you know, definitely another week before things calm down. With any luck, things will calm down, and I will be able to bring my sewing machine back from the storage space. And I actually put together a bag of just stuff to bring back, which is great because then everything will be, you know, put aside. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'll have my sewing machine out, and yeah, I'll be able to show you guys more. So thank you so much for being so kind and so supportive. You guys always are. And we are almost at 8,000 subscribers, and I already have an amazing sponsor lined up for the giveaway. So if you have not subscribed already, please do. Usually I post once a week, and even through this, I've been pretty much posting once a week, sharing lots of sewing, a little bit of knitting, and a little bit of my life here in Toronto. I hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.